Hello, and welcome to the Senior Living Smart Partner Webinar, 4 Proven Steps to Generate More Leads. I am Amy Bucher, and I am a Senior Analyst with Cisco & Co. We are an internet marketing firm for senior living providers. I'm so glad to be here with all of you today. My goal is that you will walk away from this webinar with a solid understanding of the 4 proven steps to generating more leads, as well as practical tips and ideas for how you can implement those steps. Before we get started, let's make sure we're all on the same page, and let's define what is a lead, what is lead generation, and what is it not. A lead is not just any random person. A lead has indicated interest. They have a reason to be interested in what you offer. So, what is lead generation? It's you. It is you creating something compelling and interesting for those people who will be interested in what your organization offers. Something so compelling, so interesting that they just have to have it. And you are the only place they can get it. So what are these 4 proven steps for generating leads? I'm going to borrow a funny little analogy from the Discovery Channel. Lead generation starts with the bait. What is it that your audience wants? Once you've determined what they want, you set the trap. Now you got them. So once you got them in the trap, you're going to tag them so that you can continue to track them. And at the last step, you're going to release them back into the wilds of the internet. Okay, so that works for the Discovery Channel, but how in the world does that relate to internet marketing and lead generation? Well, here we go. We're not capturing animals. So the 4 proven steps, your bait is some irresistible offer that you can provide for your audience. So the trap is the landing page that you draw people to with your offer. The tag, you have a form on that landing page, and when people fill out that form, you've tagged them. And then the release is simply your next offer. You continue with the offers, you continue with the baiting and the trapping and the tagging so that you continue to generate new leads. So let's break down each of these 4 steps and look at what does that mean exactly, and how can you implement that for your organization. So bait has 2 parts. You're going to create an offer and you're going to promote that offer. You have to have something irresistible and compelling, and then you have to make sure people know about it. So how do you create an offer? What is it? How do you figure out what people are going to want? Well, you have to determine who is your persona. Who are the people who buy from you? Who is that persona? A persona is kind of a compilation of a generalized target audience for you. Typically, for senior living providers, an adult child is one of your primary personas. They're looking for mom or dad, and they have a lot of concerns. So think about, what will that person find useful? What will they find helpful? Now, your offer cannot be anything promotional. That won't work. I can just tell you flat out, it won't work. You have to give them something that is useful to them, but not selling to them. You want to draw them into you. So here are a few Senior Living Smart offers from first quarter of this year. This is compelling information that people were willing to trade their name, their email, and other information to get. You may have opted in for some of these. So you want to give a lot of time to developing your own offers. The best offers, as I said, are educational and not promotional. Offer your buyer persona something useful, something that will help them in their job or their day-to-day life, something that addresses a specific problem or a specific pain point that they need to deal with. You want to spend a lot of time thinking through these offers and what you want to give, because if your offer is no good, the whole system breaks down. You won't generate any leads if you don't have an offer that's compelling or interesting to your target audience. So once you have that offer, you're going to promote it. Now, primarily, you're going to have a landing page that your offer is going to live on, as well as your form and other things, and you want to pull people to that landing page. So you can use existing social media channels, you can use your website, you can use your blog, you can use any online or offline tactic that you have in place already. Now, don't think you can go, oh, I'll set up a Facebook page so I can promote my offer. That won't work. You need to have a channel that is already putting out content that people are already following. If there aren't people there, they won't see it. So now, you know your audience. You know what they want. You've created an amazing offer. You have, in effect, created the bait. So now we're going to use that bait to trap your lead. And what is the trap? It is just a landing page. You're going to position your offer on a landing page where people will find it and want to get it. Now, a landing page is a little different from just a regular website page. So let's talk through the anatomy of a landing page. There are 9 specific elements that we're going to look at within a landing page and talk about how these affect the conversion rate. So number 1, a nice looking headline. I like how they put that on there. I borrowed this infographic from kissmetrics.com, which is a great website. Your headline needs to match all of your calls to action. So if you put a post out on Facebook telling people, click here to find the 9 things you need to ask your rehab provider before signing on, your headline when you get to the landing page needs to complement that. Download the 9 things you need to ask, or whatever it is. Make sure that that copy is consistent across your promotional channels as well as on your landing page and on your offer, so that people never wonder if they're in the right place or if they are downloading the right thing. So your secondary headlines need to be very clear and very concise. The golden rule of copy is to write headings and sentences that compel the reader to read the next sentence. So write headlines that compel your reader to keep reading. So number 3, impeccable grammar. You risk trust with spelling errors and sloppy grammar. Always, always, always have someone else proofread your copy. No matter how good of a writer you are, no matter how well versed you are in grammar and punctuation and everything else, always have someone else proofread it for you before you make it go live. Trust indicators. These include testimonials, guarantee seals, third-party verification like the Better Business Bureau, Senior Living Smart Partner, things like that, things that tell your audience that you can be trusted. I always say the testimonial is the equivalent of the neighbor leaning over the fence saying, hey, I really like this. You should check this out. It's pretty good stuff. It's the internet equivalent of that, of a trusted person. It builds trust. It builds your relationship with the person. So a strong call to action. Number 5, tell your visitor exactly what you want them to do next. In this case, they're telling you, do it now. They're telling you when to do it, what to do. And the next one, number 6, is our CTA. So click here. So number 5 was this strong call to action. Do it now. Click here. Don't use the words click here unless you're A/B testing something. Make it a little more compelling. Make it a little more specific to what they're doing. But make that button stand out. If you look, even though the page is blurry here, you can tell that that button pops off the page. It is a contrasting color with the rest of the page. So they've made it stand out with the color, with the wording, with the size of the button. It's a good size button. It's a nice big place to click, so it's very comfortable for your end user. You want to keep your links to a minimum. Too many places to click will reduce your conversion rate. Simplicity is the key to an effective landing page. I would not even recommend having those links up there at the top. Typically, when I build a landing page, you've got one action and that's it. People can do one thing or they can hit the back button. Obviously, you always have that, but keep the actions that your user can take to a minimum so that you are continually guiding them. This is exactly what I want you to do. You'd be surprised On the internet, if you tell people what to do, generally they do it. It's an interesting phenomenon. Images and video. So you need something that will support the copy right up front, right at the top. It needs to be compelling. It needs to be relevant. It needs to be memorable. Don't waste that space. The internet is a visual medium. We are used to seeing pictures and things that interest us and grab us visually. So provide that for your audience. Number 9 is above the fold. Most of you may have probably heard this term before, but in the old newspaper industry, a traditional newspaper is folded, and the editors would put the most important news above the fold on the top half of the newspaper. Well, we borrowed that in the internet world, so to speak, as meaning the part of the website that you can see without having to scroll. That's above the fold. So you want to keep your most important parts, including your call to action button, above the fold. Now, you've probably seen landing pages that are very long, and you scroll and there are call to action buttons all throughout the copy. Those are great. Those tend to convert very well if they've been written well. You're probably not going to want to do that elaborate of a landing page unless you have a fabulous copywriter in your back pocket. Keep it short, keep it simple, keep it all above the fold. So now we have set the bait with an irresistible opt-in. You've trapped a lead, and now what are you going to do? That's right, you're going to tag that puppy. So why do they tag animals on the Discovery Channel? They tag them so they can track their movements and habits. Now, what we're doing here isn't quite so creepy and stalkerish, but you do want to know something about your lead so that you can nurture him into a customer. There isn't enough time in this webinar to cover lead nurturing tactics. We're going to stay laser focused on ways to get those leads. So, how do you tag those leads? You're going to capture their information with a form. You're going to send them to a thank you page, and you're going to give them a follow-up email. So here's a Senior Living Smart form embedded on a landing page. You've gotten here because you found an irresistible offer, or at least it was something compelling enough to make you click through. Now, complete the form, and you are officially a lead. Now, I know you want to collect as much information about your leads as possible. You want to have 10, 20, 30 fields on that form so you know everything there is to know about this lead. I'm here to tell you that is not a good idea on this first form. Think about the online forms you've filled out as a user. If they require too much information, or if you think they're asking things they don't need to know, what do? You simply quit filling out the form. You hit the back button, you're like, whoa, they're being kind of nosy. So don't do that to your potential leads. Keep your form clean and simple and just to the basics. An ideal form, for a really high conversion rate, typically you're going to have name, email. That's it. And that's really all you need, because you can continue to nurture that lead with just their name and their email. So now, once they filled out the form, you're going to send them to the thank you page. So this is another page that you've built. You've built a landing page, you're building a thank you page. They trusted you enough to give you information to get your offer. Now the thank you page is your chance to reassure them that they made a good decision. Every part of the 4 steps is important, but this step, the thank you page, really, it seems like it should be an afterthought, but it's not. It is vital for leaving your lead with a positive experience. If your lead has a negative experience here, they simply won't come back. This is your chance to continue to build trust with this new lead. The same is true for your follow-up email. Now, this email may be how you deliver your offer to your lead, or it may simply be another thank you, another touch. Either way, it is just like the thank you page. It is so vital to leave a positive impression on your lead if you want them to return. And finally, the easiest of the 4 steps, you're releasing your wonderful leads back into the wild. You know a little something about them, you know what they liked your offer, and you know how to follow up with them now. So now it's time to go create your next offer. So let's review the 4 proven steps. Number 1, bait. You're going to promote some fabulous offer. You need to know your persona. What are their pain points? What is going to capture their interest? How can you help them? What educational resources can you provide for them? So create some offer that they will find irresistible, or at least they'll be curious about. And then you're going to promote that offer through whatever channels you have available, whether that's your website, your blog, social media, online directories, even offline. Send a postcard. Provide something at the front desk, whatever it is, whatever channels that you have for promoting, use those to promote this offer. So next, you're going to trap them. You're going to draw them to a landing page that you've built. So one, you've got to build your landing page and follow those best practices that we talked about to keep your landing page simple and to the point and direct, and you're going to guide them through that sales funnel. Just pull them right to that click. You're going to tag them. The form is your tag. So collect the information that you need, but not too much. I know we all want lots of information. Don't be greedy or you won't get it. And then that final step, release. So you've got your next offer ready to go. So they're out there, they're on the internet, and suddenly, ooh, there's something else compelling. And they just keep coming back because you keep being that resource that they can go to. And eventually, those leads convert into customers. So let's take a few questions. Here's the first question I got. I hear a lot of references to inbound marketing. And what is inbound marketing, and how does that differ from lead generation? That's a great question. Lead generation and inbound marketing are two different terms, although they are used interchangeably. They're close enough that you really can use them interchangeably. Lead generation is about pulling people in and generating those leads, turning people from visitors into leads. So that's one part of the whole inbound marketing process. Inbound marketing is different from the old traditional push marketing, where you just push your message out at people and hope they like it and come in. Inbound marketing is about drawing them in, about creating those offers, about creating something that wants to pull them in, that they are compelled to pull in. It really is, it's the marketing of today and the marketing of the future. You can no longer just push information out at people. We are bombarded. I see studies all the time, and it's always a different number, but it's always ridiculously high. We're bombarded by like 30,000 marketing messages every day. You're constantly being pushed, information is being pushed at you. So you're not going to get very far with that because it just becomes static noise to everyone. So that's why inbound marketing and lead generation within inbound marketing is going to work for you. Next question, how do I figure out what would be good bait to get leads for my community? Great question, and this is an important one. You really need to think this through because, as I said earlier, if your offer isn't good, if it doesn't appeal to your audience, your efforts are going to fall flat. It's not going to matter how wonderful your landing page is and how compelling your copy, because no one will show up to see it because your offer isn't good. So how do you figure out a good starting point that we always tell people is when a potential customer calls your facility, what are the 3 questions that they ask? There's always those common questions. What are their pain points? What are the things that they want to know? So use that as your jumping off point. Now that may not be, they want to know, do you have beds? Well, yes, but that's not going to make a very good offer to bait people and bring them into a landing page. But that's something that maybe you can turn that into something as an offer. Think about, so that's one of their concerns. How can I create an offer, some kind of information that they will want in exchange? So think through your persona. What are their pain points? What do they want to know? How can you reassure them and educate them and inform them? So the next question, how do we define our persona? There's a lot of aspects to your persona. Mainly you want to think about who your primary customers are. Think about who your ideal customer is, because that's a great persona to work with. Who is that ideal customer? About what age are they? About as I used typically any senior living community, the adult child is going to be a primary persona. We've talked about that. You know that. So you can kind of define that persona. So that adult child, it's typically the daughter, right? You can define her age. Given your community, you can think about what she likes, what she doesn't like, how internet savvy she is. And as you think about those questions, that's going to start to really define that persona for you and help you determine what is it that she wants. And the last question, how often should we create new bait for generating leads? So the question is, how often should we put new offers out there, new lead generating opportunities? That's a great question, and that's going to be pretty individual for your community and for whoever's creating these offers. It's quite a bit of work, as you've seen. You know, you're building a landing page, a thank you page, email, the offer itself, the form within the landing page. There are a lot of elements, and it does take quite a bit of time to put all these pieces together. There are tools that you can use that can automate some of those processes, and I highly encourage you to use those. There are free tools and very expensive tools and tools all in between. Like you can use a HubSpot, which will help you set all this up and kind of build everything for you, but it's very expensive. Or you can use like MailChimp, which is free, and you can use that to build your form. And use that to send your emails, but it won't build your landing pages. So you'll have to have another tool, maybe within your website, maybe without your website. But there are tools out there that can help you automate that. So the time factor and the resource factor is definitely a factor within determining how often you create new offers to generate leads. The more resources you have, the more offers you can create, so the more lead generation you can do. But if you only have resources to create one at a time, here's how you tell. You measure as you promote it through your channels, you measure how many leads you're getting, and you'll see a point where those leads start to die off, where that particular lead generation tool has kind of lived its cycle. And that cycle is going to be different for everybody because it's going to depend on your content channels. It's going to depend on your audience, how responsive they are. It's going to depend on how big your audience is. So there are a lot of factors. But when you start to see that die off, have that next one ready to go so you can replace it, so you can keep that funnel full all the time. All right, that's all the questions. I hope you've gotten some good information out of this webinar. I hope you feel like you have a good grasp of those 4 steps. Say them with me. It's bait, trap, tag, release. It's so easy. I love the visual of that, of the animals. So we want to make an offer to you. I would love to give you a free internet marketing snapshot. If you're curious to see how you can make this lead generation tactic work within what you have, we would love to spend 15 minutes with you, and we'll go over your entire online presence and evaluate your channels and show you the best way with the tools that you currently have, how you can make this process work for you. So just send us an email or make a comment here on this video, and we'll get you started with that snapshot. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.